What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. I am back with yet another schedule preview and record prediction video, and today we're going to be going through the 2020 Florida State Seminoles. So, Florida State overall was a team last year, in my opinion, was disappointing. I mean, I expected Florida State to be a little bit better than they were last year, and they just weren't. And was not a great year for Florida State, and they failed to perform in the big games. But this year, I expect Florida State to improve from where they were last year. They are returning their quarterback, James Blackman, and his backup, Chubba Purdy, is the brother of Brock Purdy. So if he gets some snaps, he could be really, really good. Lots of great weapons around there on the offensive side. Defense, if they improve from last year, they're going to be something to watch out for as well. And they are bringing in Mike Norvell, the head coach from Memphis, and if he can bring in that Memphis offense, Florida State's going to be a dangerous team. So let's see if Florida State can once again compete in the ACC like they did so many years ago, or if they're going to continue their downfall that started so many years ago. Here's the schedule for the Florida State Seminoles. You look down there, their 2019 record was 6-7. So as I said in the intro, they failed to perform well in big games against Clemson, against Boise State, against Florida. They got blown out by Boise State was a close game, but they got blown out by Clemson and by Florida. They still ended up making a bowl game, and although the score doesn't show it, they played Arizona State in the Sun Bowl. It was 20-14, and as I just said, although the score doesn't show it, Arizona State pretty much controlled that entire game, and Florida State just was not able to play their style of football and ended up with the loss. That's how they got to 6-7. And you'll look up there, their home games going to be in the maroon, purple, away games going to be in the golden beige, and they do have a neutral site game. And as always, that's going to be in black. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at Florida State's schedule. Their first game of the season is going to be their neutral site game. It's going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be against the West Virginia Mountaineers. I feel like this game has the potential to be a fairly good game. It is a neutral site, and neutral site games are always fun. Crowd is going to be split and going to have fans from both teams there. Of course, if fans are allowed at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in week one. But overall, I see Florida State being the way more talented team. I'm not high on West Virginia this year. To me, they are one of the bottom teams in the Big 12 this year. And overall, I just don't see a way that West Virginia is able to win this game. Maybe they can make it close, but I see Florida State being able to pretty easily win this game here. Then it's a home game against the Samford Bulldogs, and no exaggeration, this is the game that I feel like Florida State and Mike Norvell could hang 70 on. They could hang 70 on the Bulldogs, and I feel like this is going to be a test game since we're not going to get the full extent of practice. I feel like this is going to be a game that Mike Norvell is just going to want to see how far he can push his offense to go, as Florida State really shouldn't lose this game, and it's definitely going to be what I'm going to call a little bit of a test run for the offense of Florida State. Then a road game against the Boise State Broncos, and to me is what's going to be Florida State's first true test. So I feel like they're going to use Samford as kind of a little get-off game to build some momentum for the Boise State game. This game is so close for me, but I am leaning towards the Broncos because Boise State does not like to lose on that blue turf field. And it's a huge home field advantage for Boise State. And overall, I feel like these two teams match up really well on the offense and defensive side. They're pretty much even in those regards to me. But the special teams is where it pushes it over the limit. Avery Williams and the Boise State special teams is just far better than whatever Florida State has, and maybe Mike Norvell can improve the special teams, and I'm wrong saying here, but as of right now, Boise State's got the better special teams, and I just see Boise State, that being a factor in this one, and the return game for Boise State being able for them to beat Florida State 2 years in a row. When they get their bye week, and in terms of scheduling, it's an okay place for a bye week. It's after what my opinion is Florida State's first true test and before a road game. But in terms of scheduling, in terms of where it is, it's really early in the season. Now they got to play 9 straight games, and they got a lot of tough ones there. And just overall, not a very good place for a bye week. So then they get a road game against the NC State Wolfpack. And NC State was a team that dropped off last year more than I think a lot of people expected them to. So I don't really see all that changing. Maybe they get a win or two more than they did last season, but overall, I don't see NC State being all that great of a football team this year. I'm going to give this one to the Florida State Seminoles. Then a home game against the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson is losing wide receiver Justin Ross, but they are still a very, very, very good football team on both sides of the ball. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation in Trevor Lawrence and one, if not the best running back in the nation in Travis Etienne. Clemson is still a national title contender, but I do feel like Clemson needs to watch out for this game. It could be a trap game for the Clemson Tigers because Florida State could have a lot of pieces in place, and if Mike Norvell gets the offense up to where he wants to be, and I feel like he's got a lot of games before Clemson to really get that offense flowing, Florida State's going to be a dangerous team here. It is a home game, and I remember when Clemson and Florida State games were playing for the ACC title, and they were always fun to watch. This one I feel like is going to be that type of game, but I still think Clemson is the way more talented team, but I feel like Florida State's going to make this one close. Then another home game against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and Wake Forest is a team that I feel like a lot of people are going to underrate this year. They were pretty good last year, but Jamie Newman is leaving. A lot of people forget about Sam Hartman. He was one of the reasons Wake Forest had one of the better passing attacks in all of the ACC. But I'm still going to lean towards Florida State because overall, I feel like Florida State's defense is just going to be able to stop Sam Hartman and the Wake Forest offense. So Florida State will win that one. Then a road game against the Louisville Cardinals. And I did Louisville earlier this week, and I was favoring Louisville in this game because, to me, Louisville's just got a better offense. Quarterback Malik Cunningham with wide receiver Tutu Atwell, probably going to be one of the better quarterback wide receiver duos in the ACC, if not in the entire nation this year. Tutu Atwell is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the nation. And I just don't feel like Florida State's going to be that great of a defensive team last year. Of course, Mike Norvell not really known for his defense. He's known to just go in there, punch the football in, and score as many points as he needs to. And I feel like Florida State's offense is going to be kicking it full swing here, so it could be a fairly fun game to watch. But home field advantage for the Louisville Cardinals and overall on what I think is going to be, especially on the defensive side, just a more talented team. So I see Louisville being able to win this one just slightly. Then a home game against the Pittsburgh Panthers. A lot of people underrate this Pitt team. They're getting their quarterback Pickett back and had a fairly good season last year. I feel like his numbers are going to improve from where they were last year. But overall, Pitt just does not have the talent surrounding Pickett than as Florida State does surrounding James Blackman. So Florida State should be able to win this one by a couple possessions. That's what, in my opinion, going to be a very tricky road game against the Miami Hurricanes. I feel like by this point, if Miami's going to be the team we all think they are, they're going to be in full swing here. And I feel like by this point, this is week 10, so I feel like De'Aaron King is going to be back into his 2018 Houston self, and he's going to have a lot of guys around him that he trusts to put the football in their arms, and Miami's running game could be off the charts. And I feel like by this point, Miami's got a lot of holes filled on defense. It was one of the better defenses in the ACC last year, but they are losing a ton, and I felt this could be a very tricky road game for the Seminoles. I could see this one going either way right now because I feel like although Florida State is, to me, the more talented team, it's a home game for the Miami Hurricanes, and what overall I think is the team that is in full swing by this point. So it really is up in the air for me. See this one going either way. Then a home game against the Boston College Golden Eagles, and Boston College is going to drop off from where they have been in previous years. A.J. Dillon is gone, and he is taking the #1 rushing attack in the ACC with him, and I just don't – and they're losing so many other guys on both sides of the ball. Maybe if they can get the Notre Dame transfer quarterback immediate eligibility, he can be he can boost this Boston College team, but for right now, I don't see Boston College being all that great and Florida State getting the win here. Then a road game against the Syracuse Orange is going to be a Thursday game, and what I think could be a tricky game for Florida State if Tommy DeVito ends up playing way better than we all think he's going to. I feel like he's going to be a pretty okay quarterback in the ACC this year, but Syracuse was a disappointing team last year from where they were in 2018, just dropped off tremendously from making a pretty big bowl game to not even making a bowl game at all. They weren't even close last year. And I don't see a whole lot of that changing. They do have one of the more underrated cornerbacks in the entire nation, in my opinion, this year. But overall, besides Tommy DeVito and that cornerback, Syracuse is not really all that talented team. I see Florida State being able to win this one. Then it is the big game, last game of the season. Florida State is going to get Florida at home this year. I feel like it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. I still am favoring the Florida Gators here, but Florida State is going to have everything figured out by this point, and Mike Norvell is going to have Florida State being one of the better offenses in the nation by this point, in my opinion. But to me, Florida is just way too talented. Florida State, I don't think, is going to be able to keep up, even though it is a home game towards the end with Kyle Trask and all the other guys there. Kyle Pitts, especially with the tight end, going to be running all over this Florida State defense. And what I think is going to be a high-scoring game, and to me, Florida's just the much more talented team on the defensive side, which is going to be the key in this game. All right, so now with everything being said and considered for the Florida State Seminoles, I have them going 8-4. And with a schedule like this, 8-4 is a very respectable record for the talent that Florida State has. Of course, the first game of the season, a neutral site game against West Virginia. I personally can't really see them losing that, but a lot of people can. So if you're wondering, the 4 losses to me: on the road to Boise State, the game against Clemson, the game against Florida, and then they're going to split Miami and Louisville. Both games are on the road, and they'll probably end up winning one of those games. But 8-4 is where I see Florida State. They just got a lot of tricky games. Their road games are especially difficult with Boise State, Louisville, and Miami. But they get teams like Clemson and Florida at home, which could make them closer games, but I don't see them being able to win those. All right, now let's move on to the record range. What this is, I take this team's worst-case scenario along with their best-case scenario. It's where I expect this team to be. And in the case for Florida State, their worst case for me is 5-7. I totally could see Florida State not even making a bowl game this year, especially if Mike Norvell's offense just does not work out with the Florida State system and Florida State's defense does not improve from where they were last year. Definitely could see Florida State not being all that great of a team and disappointing a lot of us this year. Just overall, I think they have too much talent to go 5-7. But again, as I said, if that talent just does not work with the Mike Norvell system, they could miss out on a bowl game. So then their best case scenario to me is 10-2. Like I said, they have a lot of tricky road games on the road at Louisville, on the road at Boise State, on the road at Miami, but they get Clemson and Florida at home. Maybe they can win one of those games, and what I think would be an upset in either one of those scenarios is Clemson and Florida. Both are top 10 teams, in my opinion. So maybe they can win one of those games, but 10-2 is where I see, again, if Florida State, and my prediction is right, and they can hang 70 on Sanford and go on the road to beat Boise State, Florida State's going to be a team you got to watch out for. They very easily could start the season off 4-0 if they can get through Boise State, come in to Death Valley undefeated, and make this one a close game. Even if they don't win that one, even if they keep it within single digits, Florida State's going to be a team you have to watch out for. My current prediction, though, for the Florida State Seminoles is 8-4. All right, so that's going to do it for my schedule preview and record prediction for the 2020 Florida State Seminoles. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you're brand new to the channel or just enjoy my content. And if you haven't done so already, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Florida State Seminoles. And as always, until next time, remember, play hard, but tailgate harder. See y'all in the next video. Goodbye.